Once upon a time, in a quiet town called Oyan, deep in Oyan, lived a young couple whose love was the talk of the village. Their names were Kunle and Adanna. They had little, just a small mud brick house and each other, but their joy filled every corner of their home. But as the elders say, when poverty knocks, even love begins to cough. Their story would soon test the limits of loyalty, faith, and destiny. Kunle was a skilled carpenter, making chairs and tables for villagers who could barely pay. Adanna sold vegetables and pepper in Oyan market, waking before dawn with her basket on her head and hope in her heart. Their dream was simple: to save enough money to build a small concrete house and send their unborn children to school in town. But poverty doesn't only empty pockets, it drains patience. And soon, life would tempt Kunle with promises far beyond Oyan's dusty roads. One day, Kunle was offered a carpentry job in Lagos, a city so loud and bright that it made dreams look easy. He promised Adanna he'd return in 3 months with savings and new opportunities. But Lagos had a way of changing people. There, Kunle met Remy, the daughter of a wealthy building contractor. She was beautiful, confident, and worldly. Remy admired Kunle's honesty and skill. Soon, she began inviting him for dinners, offering him gifts he could never afford. "Kunle," she'd say with a smile, "why should a fine man like you suffer in that village? Come to the city, enjoy life. You deserve better." And slowly, the memory of Adanna's gentle smile began to fade. When Kunle returned to Oyan months later, he didn't bring money or joy. He brought heartbreak. Avoiding her eyes, he said, "Adanna, I've met someone in Lagos. Her name is Remy. I'm going to marry her." Adanna's eyes widened, her basket falling to the ground, vegetables scattering in the dust. Tearfully, she asked, "Kunle, after all we planned?" But he had already turned away. As the rain began to fall, Adanna stood alone by the roadside. Kunle married Remy and moved into her father's mansion in Ikoyi. At first, life felt like heaven: cars, fine clothes, and parties. But heaven without peace is just another kind of prison. Remy was not like Adanna. She was proud and controlling. Every day she reminded Kunle that his status came from her father. Angrily, she'd shout, "You think you're something special? Without my father, you'd still be hammering wood under the sun in Oyan." Kunle's pride began to wither. And when Remy's father suddenly died, the family turned on Kunle, calling him a gold digger. He was thrown out of the house with nothing but a worn-out bag and a broken heart. The man who once abandoned love for wealth now had neither. Back in Oyan, Adanna's days were full of whispers and pity. "Ah," the villagers would gossip, "that's the woman whose husband ran away with a rich Lagos lady." But Adanna refused to drown in shame. She prayed, she worked, she believed. One Sunday, a missionary group from Abuja visited Oyan and noticed Adanna's hard work and calm spirit. They offered her a place in a women's empowerment program: tailoring, business training, and small-scale loans. Adanna turned her gift into gold. She founded Triple Grace Designs, inspired by her 3 blessings: faith, strength, and forgiveness. Her brand grew fast. She began designing dresses for women in Abuja, then Lagos, and soon across West Africa. Years rolled by, and her name became a symbol of dignity and resilience. Until one day, fate decided the circle was complete. At a grand charity event in Lagos, Adanna was invited as a special guest, now a successful entrepreneur and philanthropist. She stepped out of a black SUV, cameras flashing, reporters calling her name. She looked radiant, clothed in her own design, confidence stitched into every seam. Inside the hall, she turned and froze. There, serving drinks quietly in a corner, was Kunle. His face was older, his hands rough, his eyes full of regret. Stammering, he said, Adanna?" Softly, she replied, "Yes, Kunle. It's been a while." He dropped the tray and fell to his knees, tears rolling down his cheeks. "I wronged you," he wept. "I chased shadows and lost everything. I don't deserve your forgiveness." Adanna's eyes softened. "I forgave you long ago. You taught me the meaning of grace." She handed him her card. "Come to my office tomorrow. Let's see how we can help you start again." Kunle joined Triple Grace Designs as a staff carpenter, helping to build furniture for Adanna's fashion workshops and training centers. He worked with humility, gratitude, and awe. Adanna later founded the Triple Blessings Foundation, supporting widows and single mothers across Nigeria. When a journalist asked her why she chose that name, she smiled and said, "Because when life takes one thing from you, God gives you three: wisdom, peace, and purpose." And so the woman once abandoned became a blessing to many. The man who sought wealth found true value in humility. For in this life, destiny may delay, but it never denies. Never measure your worth by what you own. Real treasure lies in the heart that forgives and the spirit that endures. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more tales of life and destiny. See you next time.